Damn. I guess we should have wished everybody a happy Easter on the TV show.
Yeah, we could have.
I'm Arizona Family political editor Dennis Welch.
Dennis, fake news Welch. Try to tell the truth.
And this is the Politics Unplugged podcast.
Dennis, if you have a problem with substance abuse, I am more than willing to talk to you anytime you need.
And welcome back to another edition of the Politics Unplugged podcast. And today, talking about a couple of my favorite topics in the whole world. That's politics and beer. And here to help me navigate all of that is Andrew Bauman. He's the executive director of the Arizona Craft Brewers Guild. Andrew, thanks for being here, man.
Hey, Dennis, thanks for inviting me on.
Yeah, did you ever think, being a beer would lead you to politics?
It's always been interesting to me since I started brewing. I want to be part of the guild, and our main mission is to promote and protect Arizona beer. So it's always been legislative. And when I started, our big beer bill was happening. It's very exciting.
Yeah.
So
Kelly Ward ran that piece of legislation.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we're just 10 years since that passed.
Wow.
This feels like forever.
Wow.
And yesterday.
10 years goes by so quickly. And Doug Ducey signed that piece of legislation, if I remember.
Yes. We even had big ceremony at Four Peaks, and all the big people were there.
Yeah.
It was good times.
But, we're not here to reminisce about the old days and the old times, although I can do that, man.
Sure.
I can do some reminiscing, man. I can definitely get down with that. But let's talk about what's happening today. Tariffs. And tariffs, it seems to be, it's affecting every industry. It's affecting the economy, but it's in particular, it's been affecting the tariffs been affecting the beer industry. What's going on?
Beer has a lot of inputs. Okay, we have water. We know water's not necessarily the easiest thing in Arizona, and particularly Arizona politics. So that's a thing. We have grain that often comes from Canada. Our members get specific grains and hops for specific beers that are grown in specific places. It's essentially terroir for wine over in beer. We want this grain from this maltster, and they happen to be in Europe. Well, we have to pay whatever it costs. And that can be affected by tariffs. Everyone's got the aluminum and steel tariffs, which we dealt with in the first Trump administration. And those were never taken back during Biden's time in office. So those are already in place, 25% tariffs on aluminum and steel, and now we're adding on top of that. So we felt a little bit of pain last time. Most of the cans that we get are made in Canada. I don't know if that's why they named it Canada, but here we are. There's also a ball plant in Phoenix, and they make cans there as well. But a lot of that aluminum comes from Canada and via China, via Canada, sometimes Canada by itself. They're all now subject to
even
more.
if the company here that makes the cans makes them here, it's still aluminum imported from Canada, which is going to get hit with the tariff. Because we all know. I'm sure people who listen to the podcast are well aware that Donald Trump has paused for 90 days the tariffs. For most countries except China, of course, he's still sticking with those over 100% still at the time of this taping. But we're still dealing with a 10% tariff across the board on things, and this really does affect you guys.
And we've got the 20% fentanyl tariff coming from Canada, right?
That's right.
So
that's right.
on there too. It's an increase in all of the cost of goods of making the beer, essentially. But more importantly, to many of our members is the effect it's having on related industries. So most of our breweries are also restaurants, and many of them deal with local farms as a reason. They got in this industry because they like the authenticity of it. They like being able to really feel and touch all the products that they serve. So they do a lot of work with local farms, and those farmers are also really feeling the pinch of tariffs as well, especially the outgoing tariffs.
Yeah, because and maybe explain this a little bit more, because I think the average person, they hear brewer, like, oh man, they make beer. I love beer, but you guys It's kind of bigger than that because your manufacturers, your restaurateurs. There's a whole gamut here.
Right. So manufacturing the beer,
Uh-huh.
selling the beer to distributors who then move it all across the state. We've got restaurants where you now have all the things that happen in a restaurant on top of what's going on in the brewery. So it's quite complicated for sure.
Mm-hmm.
We definitely feel like hospitality and caring about our guests is an important thing.
Mm-hmm.
And many of our members also say, hey, look, we're just not getting the foot traffic because not necessarily people aren't making money or being hard hit, but it's maybe we should just, not go out this night. And we'll still go out sometimes, but we're just going to pare back a little bit, maybe shore up that savings account because we don't know what's going on. It's the uncertainty that really affects our consumers and our guests more than the prices that our members pay.
So what happens for people listening, the average consumer out there? You brought up prices. What's it mean to them when you start seeing tariffs? Like if they're going to buy some locally made beer here in Arizona, how's it going to hit them in the pocketbook?
Our members, 90% are selling the majority of their beer over their own bars.
Okay.
So they're taproom models. When your price of goods goes up, you're not getting hit by those aluminum hits as hard. And steel, we don't have a lot of breweries that are necessarily looking to expand today. They can wait a little bit on that, but what does that waiting do? Does it slow down their growth? I don't know. Our guests walk in and sometimes they have a $5 pint. Sometimes they're having a $7 pint. It's up to $8 in some places. I know if you're in California, people say we pay $12 for a pint of beer. That just slows down. Do they have as many beers? Do they not come as often? Each individual guest is going to make that decision, but it's definitely going to slow down the volume of beer that we're making in the state, which is already relatively low as a per capita compared to the country.
Yeah, I mean, what is the size? If you can give us a sense of the scope of the size of the beer industry in Arizona, the local beer industry. I mean, how many people does it employ? Like, if you can give us any kind of sense of that.
Thousands of people. We have 103 brewing companies.
Wow.
We have 167 brewery locations. Okay. So obviously, some have one location, some have 12. Making those assumptions across such a wide breadth is tough. But there are thousands of jobs in the beer industry. There also, the brewers really focus on their community. So they want to be part of their community. They want to give back. They want to help whenever they can. And that's one of the great things about beer. Not only do we help each other, someone down the street needs some grain or some hops, you just call up your friend. He'll hook you up, and you just give it back to him. So being community-minded within the industry and with people in our neighborhoods is just something that's a basis of why craft beer is so great. And the opportunity to do that can be hindered when you have to start laying people off.
Yeah, and tell me about. I was going to follow up with that. I mean, do you feel like the tariffs? Does the community, does the guild feel like the tariffs are going to end up costing jobs?
Man, that is a tough one.
That's why we brought you on the show for the tough questions, Andrew.
Tariffs costing jobs. I would say that it's going to cost some jobs. I don't know specifically the number. I feel like our brewery operations and production people already run pretty lean. They're pretty tight on how many people are in that brewery. I think the larger issue is it's going to affect those front of house jobs. It's going to affect the number of servers, number of bartenders that they have on, and it's going to be more of a contracting in that realm more than
like the hospitality restaurant side, of the industry than anything else.
And anytime you see reduced sales at your tap room, you're going to slow down your brewery production.
Yeah.
The size of our industry here, there are several breweries with large operations that's going to affect production jobs, but the majority are 1-2 guys in the back putting out all the beer, chances are they're going to be able to weather the storm a little better.
Yeah.
And that front of house element where we have large numbers of servers, cooks, that's where we're really going to see more problems as an overall hospitality and tourism issue. So tourism in Arizona, clearly international tourism is a big deal.
Yeah.
And it's a big deal for our breweries, particularly up north.
But we were talking a little bit before we started taping the podcast about, one particular brewer in Mesa closed its doors here recently. You were talking about, some of the 10-year leases are up now, and people are deciding whether they want to continue or not. The tariffs creating this kind of environment. I mean, do you see any other breweries shutting its doors here in the near future because of this?
We don't really get updated on we're going to close a store until we see it in the news.
Sure. I'm not asking for specifics, but are you getting a sense like that maybe, some people are like, man, it's not worth it anymore?
I don't see our members with those feelings. I really see the leadership in our breweries being more concerned about their employees and more, we can figure it out. Now, does that mean they're going to not open another location? Perhaps, and it's the uncertainty, like you just said.
And what can the Guild do on the political side? I mean, you're with the Guild. You've been down at the state legislature. I doubt you're down here. You've got the cash or the wherewithal to go up to Washington to do any lobbying. But what kind of steps are you guys taking now on the government level?
We do go to DC for the annual hill climb with the Brewers Association.
Okay.
So we have been there and gotten some good things done, working with our legislators. There's a beer caucus that our legislators are part of, which is pretty fun.
I want to be part of the beer caucus.
I know. It's bipartisan, bicameral. Everyone's invited. Here in the state, there's laws change all the time. We had one thing last year was improving the list of IDs. To include border crossing cards as a legal ID. That's important for visitors that come up to Phoenix from Mexico for a number of reasons. But if they come up and they don't have proper ID, they can't participate in some of our funnest events. So getting that done is one thing. We had a very high level for nationally. It was one of the highest minimum production levels. So if you're a craft brewery, you have to make this much to maintain your license.
Okay.
Arizona's was very high. It was 5,000 gallons. Doesn't sound like a lot, but that's a keg a week. And for some of our rural breweries, some of our larger breweries who want an innovation component and say, we have this place where we do these weird one-off beers. If they're not reaching that minimum level, they're subject to fines or losing their brewer's permit. So this year, Rob was down at the legislature.
Rob, the lobbyist for...
Rob Fulmer is our government affairs director.
Guru.
He has been working with the legislature for over 11 years now for the Arizona Craft Brewers Guild, and he's gotten tons done. So this year, our major accomplishment was minimizing that production level down to 1,000 gallons. So it's still 5 times as much as a home brewer can make, but it's something that's a lot more reasonable for our rural breweries. There was, back in the day, you could only growlers had to be made out of glass.
Yeah.
So we got that changed so that now you can have stainless steel and ceramic and all the other fun things we put beer in these days.
I mean, is there anything though with regards to tariffs at this point that you can do to like kind of offset this?
Regards to tariffs, considering the time of year that our legislature's in right now, and their upcoming challenges of getting a budget done and all the other things, we're not really actively pursuing anything right now. And when we go to DC this year,
So
we'll
there's
get an agenda.
So there's like a national lobbying group for brewers.
Yes, the Brewers Association represents independent craft breweries.
How have they been reacting to the to these tariffs? I mean, it's just hit everybody so hard, and it's hit everything, almost like any industry. But how's the beer lobby, for lack of a better term, reacting?
Yeah, well, putting out important letters that describe the concerns our members have is essentially what they can do right now. I don't know if there's an active way to really influence that on our side. We also had a change in personnel, so we're without a DC established person right now, and we're supposed to get a new one next week for the Brewers Association to have a permanent voice in DC again.
All right.
I'm sure that person will have a lot ahead of him. There's tariffs aren't the only thing that we worry about, but it is certainly something that is creating some confusion.
All right, man. I think we're about running out of time here. Let's wrap with this. I mean, where do you see the industry in about a year from now? I mean, are you guys gearing up for in 90 days? You expect there's going to be a lot more tariffs, and we're just going to be dealing with this uncertainty now for at least the next 3 years. I mean, where are you guys at right now?
We still feel there's plenty of room for beer in Arizona. There are underserved neighborhoods. There are underserved counties. We still have at least 3 new breweries that I have on my list that are likely opening this year.
No, okay.
So we still are optimistic on craft beer in Arizona. Nationally, it's gone down 4% in production, but is pretty stable on dollars for 2024. That's not ideal, but in Arizona, we're doing better than other states because we just have more space, and we've got a lot of entrepreneurs in this state that are itching to do something that they really love, and making beer can be something people love.
All right. Well, let's end the conversation right there, but I do got to ask.
Yeah.
This is the hard question. We always say the hard question for the last.
Yes.
Starting to warm up.
Yes.
A lot of beer enthusiasts listen to the show, I know. I'm
Good.
What's the best beer for for the summertime in Arizona? When someone's like, "Oh, I want to chill by the pool," and they call up Andrew and say, "What do you recommend?"
I say go to your closest brewery in your neighborhood and sit at their bar and order some beer from them.
That's a great answer.
Thank you.
Andrew, it's been a lot of fun talking about
Dennis,
about beer and tariffs. Obviously, my beer and politics are 2 of my favorite topics. So I'm really happy for you to stop by here, and you're welcome back anytime, man.
Great, thanks.
All right, thanks. And welcome back to the second half of the big show. And as always, joined with producer extraordinaire Colin Stanton. Colin,
always a pleasure,
are you, man? How the hell are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
It's been a heck of a week, man.
Yeah.
You got Governor whipping out the old veto stamp a lot. I mean, Veto Tuesday was something.
Yeah.
15
She's gotten quite
vetoes.
adept at that.
Yeah, she's gotten really adept at that. We've got this weird fight that the Republicans decided to pick with the disabled community here. I don't know why they decided to pick this fight.
It feels like such a loser. Why are you doing this?
Why are you supplemental? They need $122 million. The agency that provides services for the disabled community, $122 million shortfall. They need a supplemental to get them to the end of the fiscal year, which is June 30th. And they've made it this really big issue. And the people who are going to be affected by this are real people. They're not a budget line, and they're real people with real stories and some real problems that this money, this agency helps with.
Yeah, and just picking as a political fight. I mean, Republicans have disabled family members too.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I mean, there's a pick. Yeah, autism, cerebral palsy. It doesn't discriminate by political by politics, and it was interesting to me that they chose this as the fight, and they're saying, well, we're concerned, we don't with the budget mismanagement, this, that, and the other thing, and they want all these guardrails on the program moving forward. They say, we'll give you the $122 million, but in return, we want these guardrails. Well, why don't you do that for the ESA program?
And that's the spot where their argument really just absolutely falls apart. You need guardrails on whether doctors are giving the proper number of hours of care assigned to children with severe developmental issues, what have you. They want guardrails for that, but they don't want guardrails for the people sending their kids to private school on our dime.
And that's where you get the real tip off that this is really just politics. I mean, if you're being consistent, it's the thing that drives me nuts in politics. Like, be consistent. Yeah. If like Jeff Flake back in the day was freaking consistent.
Yeah.
Like with his war on earmarks.
Yeah.
Oh, is it an earmark? No. Yeah, he was consistent, and sometimes sometimes it was probably took some unpopular positions because of it, but be consistent.
Yeah, at least you understood why he was doing it, and it was consistent with his philosophy. Whereas this is
like, if you're concerned about overspending and managing the budgets and stuff like that, then take that approach to everything.
Yeah, and it just seems like it's an attempt to try and get some blood out of the governor by saying, "Oh, you've mismanaged the budget on disabled families." Yeah. Well, good luck making that work.
Well, and think about it too. When you look at it, it's like we've seen a lot of reporting with the ESA programs which were intended for middle class, lower income people.
Yeah,
it's not exactly, they're not the ones benefiting the most from it.
No, they're not.
So you're pitting. You want financial mismanagement with people with cerebral palsy who depend on these services and their families.
Yeah.
And you want to reform or make cuts to that program. But on the other hand, ESAs with these wealthier families going to, high-end schools, private schools, that's fine.
Yeah, no, if they want to use the money to build a batting cage in the backyard, that's cool. But the kid who needs 40 hours of therapy or 40 hours of assistance a week, they need to get 20 because anything more than that is just waste. It's an absurd argument. It's a political loser. That's the bottom line that gets me. Is not only is it morally reprehensible, it's a political loser.
Well, it's like it's sparked now for recall efforts. Now I get it's mostly symbolic symbolism. I mean, you're not going to get much done quickly with a recall election, but it sends a real message to these folks in these Republican districts that they're fighting this.
Yeah.
And, they're wanting to blame the governor for budget mismanagement. But again, supplemental budgets happen all the time in state government.
Yes.
It happens all the time. And if you're really worried about that, put guardrails on other programs that are going over budget, like the ESA thing.
Yes. Yeah, they're not in a position to complain and suggest someone else is blowing up the budget when the ESAs are doing that all by themselves.
It's just weird. I just look back at it from a political sense, and you look at it's the dumbest fight for Republicans to pick.
Yeah.
There's a lot else that they can be going after the governor with. They don't need this fight. This fight has kind of broken through to the old front page. As we'd say back in the day. I mean, this is the kind of thing that people will pay attention to.
Yeah, you're in trouble when it's one thing to make weird arguments when it's just the political audience watching because they're sort of in on it and they get it. Once you break through to the people who don't care about politics, then you're in trouble when you're doing something like this, and that's where they are.
That's exactly where they are. And then, and speaking of that, I mean, I think another story that has really broken through to people beyond politics is the Maryland man who was taken by ICE and deported to an El Salvadorian max security prison.
Yeah.
The administration has admitted that they've made a mistake, but they're not doing much at this point Friday morning to get him back.
And by not doing much, you mean absolutely steadfastly refusing to do anything at all.
There's that.
And suggesting that when the Supreme Court told them they had to facilitate his return, their legal interpretation was, well, if he should somehow escape the gulag in El Salvador and get out and somehow make it to the U.S. border, they probably had to let him in. That was essentially Stephen Miller's interpretation of this, I think.
Yeah. Well, his interpretation, Stephen Miller's interpretation on this also was that he viewed that ruling as a victory for the Trump administration.
It was not on any level whatsoever.
It's a real question, like if... It's a real question that if they're allowed to do this, to deport somebody with, as far as what I've read, there's a lot of misinformation around this guy, but no credible evidence or no real evidence to back up the claim that he's a gang member.
Yeah.
Which was the pretense for rounding him up.
Yeah. Officially, there's been no back up to that at all.
Yeah.
I know the Fox News argument was he wears a flat-brimmed hat, so he's a gangster. But that seems to be the extent of the evidence of that.
Yeah.
They've acknowledged if it was a mistake, he should not have gone. But and yes, we're at a spot where, are we going to really let this happen? This seems like a good place to draw the line. Are we going to be rounding up people randomly off the street with no due process and sending them to a hellhole in El Salvador? Kind of seems like that's a bad spot for us.
And and apparently
to
El Salvador, we're paying El Salvador $6 million a year to house these prisoners that we've deported and sent down there or something like that. We haven't seen any contracts.
Right.
And it just begs the question of, they're allowed to do this, what are they prohibited to do?
And Trump making the argument that he's somehow incapable of requiring this, that he doesn't have the power to get him back.
Yeah.
Really? Because that makes you sound like the weakest man in the world. And that tends not to be the persona that Trump wants to project out there. But you're going to send people down to a prison in El Salvador, but you have absolutely no ability to get one of them back when you realize he shouldn't be there.
Yeah. Hell of a week, man.
Yeah.
Hell of a moment too. I think it's a key moment.
Yeah.
Right now. From both his terms so far, I think this is probably the keyest of most.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like we say that sort of thing a lot when he's in office, but this one is
really seems.
This one's gotten bad.
It's different.
Yeah,
this one does seem a little bit different and more serious than what we've maybe dealt with in the past.
Yes.
From that, let's make a hard pivot.
From
a really hard pivot.
From people who are being sent to a gulag to Stephen A. Smith.
Oh God. Yeah, what is that jackass up to these days?
Yeah. So
wait, he made another completely outrageous, stupid claim, right?
Yeah, and I mean, a little background on Stephen A. He used to be a legitimate reporter.
Yeah,
with the Philadelphia Inquirer, I believe. Covered basketball at one point, knew basketball and knew things, and was an actual journalist who would say things. If he said something, it probably had something behind it.
Yeah.
Said earlier this week, I believe, that Matt Ishbia is trending to become the worst owner in the history of basketball.
Absolutely ludicrous.
It is one of the dumbest things he has ever said.
And that includes Donald Sterling.
Yes.
The racist former owner of the L.A. Clippers. A terrible organization that was run, that we found out, by a racist.
Yes. And even if you take away the horrifying racist manner in which he ran things, just on a strictly basketball level, he was the most incompetent owner basketball has seen. And there are plenty of others. There are plenty of awful ones now. Matt Ishbia is not one of them. Matt Ishbia is a better owner than the last guy who owned the Suns.
Oh yeah, that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was basically forced to sell his team.
Yeah.
Right? It was
it was encouraged.
Yeah, it was strongly suggested.
I mean, here's the case against Matt Ishbia. He made two trades that were perhaps too aggressive in trying to win now.
Yeah.
And everyone agrees that they were trades that were too aggressive at trying to win now.
Yeah,
everyone agrees that they were bad trades. Certainly the Beal trade, everyone agrees is bad. They didn't all agree on that then. And I've admitted on here before, I liked both of the trades at the time.
Mm-hmm.
The Beal trade turns out to be an absolute mess for a variety of reasons. But the general wisdom at the time was, these are trades that if it works, you're competing for a championship. If it doesn't work, you're screwed because you've given up your future and tied yourself to this, and it could go really bad. But the upside is that's a potentially championship-winning combo.
Mm-hmm.
And the result is it's not a championship-winning combo. It doesn't work at all. And as expected, since it's not that, you're screwed. We knew that then. We chose the upside, and I'll generally choose the upside on something like that.
I mean, it's that whole idea of championship or bust, right?
Yeah.
Everybody forgets the bust part.
Yeah.
I mean, they're just
here we are.
Bust.
It's like the map at the mall. You are here.
Yep.
This is or bust.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's when you make big swings, sometimes you strike out. Now, Matt Ishbia may end up being one of the worst owners on a win-loss, but that's years from now to determine.
Yeah. I mean, I'm assuming he's going to learn from this. And these trades were made at a time where I don't think people fully understood the implications of the CBA. I'm not even sure the CBA was fully in place then. I'm not sure. It may have been, it may not, but certainly we were not seeing the punitive nature of the second apron where they are like it is now, and how absolutely crippling it is, and how stuck they became because of it.
Yeah, and full disclosure, the Arizona family here, we're the home of the Phoenix Suns.
Yeah.
And we show the games.
Yeah.
Full disclosure, that said, Matt Ishbia, again, reemphasize, he may end up being one of the worst, but that would take years to determine.
Yeah.
I'm with you. I think, here's a guy who is, built a billion-dollar business. He's a smart guy. He's a young guy. He wants to win. And his biggest crime isn't, the Donald Sterling crimes from just being a shitty owner to his personal issues. His biggest crime is he's overspent to try to win a championship.
Yeah.
Now, given the fact, the history of sports owners in Arizona, I mean, wouldn't you rather have that kind of mistake than some of the other ones? Yeah. Remember the Mr. Bidwell years of the Cardinals?
Yeah.
That dude, I heard he's a great guy with charity, man, but that dude had no interest in putting in winning football on the field.
Yeah, none.
Robert Sarver, it was only just a few years ago that guy was the head of the Suns, who went, by the way, 10 freaking years without going to the playoffs, who took a proud franchise that was in the playoffs year after year after year and went to a 10-year drought.
Yeah. While also turning the front office into a miserable, or the office,
miserable
experience.
In
a miserable place to be. Yeah. And, in terms of just the NBA right now, there are bad owners out there. Ishbia is not really one of them. Again, if he never learns from this, if he keeps making this mistake, then you end up like the Knicks for years and years and years.
Yeah.
We're stuck in hell because they were tied up in big salaries because they kept trying to win now.
Let history make that decision after a while, not after 3 years.
Yeah, no. He's got a long, long time to go before he starts getting to that realm. And, you've got other teams like the Pelicans where the owner doesn't care. The owner bought the team because she felt bad because she owned the Saints and didn't want to see the Pelicans leave town. So she went ahead and bought them so they'd still have a basketball team. But she doesn't care about the team, and you can tell.
Yeah.
It's a disaster year in and year out. That's not the approach to the Suns here.
No, not at all. Not at all.
So, we'll see what happens this offseason. They'll move Durant. They'll try to move Beal. If they can't move Beal, they'll look at the options of just getting him off the roster and seeing if you can at least create a little financial freedom that way. They'll do what they can, and their hands might be largely tied. And who knows what a year of Durant is worth at this point, because that's all he has on his contract. But they'll do something.
He wants the extension. I just Stephen A. It's there's another sports talk guy is famous for saying, like, you can be wrong in the industry to just be interesting.
Yeah.
And I get that, and that's fair. But to be asinine doesn't make you interesting. It just makes you an asshole.
No. And he used to be a guy who would say some edgy stuff, and he would shout it. He was mostly just famous for shouting whatever he thought. But usually there was some thought, and you could at least see his viewpoint. But this is just going into the Skip Bayless territory of, what's the dumbest shit I could possibly say so it'll get aggregated.
Oh, yeah. This is a nice follow from Stephen A.'s dumbass fight with LeBron.
Yeah, which was moronic.
Which was absolutely, God.
Please put an end to this. As a father, you need to put an end to the Bronny thing. Shortly thereafter, Bronny drops 39 in a G League game.
Yeah, and why would you personalize something like report? Yeah. It's like if I'm reporting on a politician, And I just tweet out, well, if you were a better father.
Yeah.
Like, why would I ever freaking do that?
It's preposterous and out of bounds. And again,
and you've made it
from
personal.
everything I've seen, LeBron seems to be a great dad.
Yeah, and you've made it very personal.
Yeah.
And in the media, you can be wrong, you can be interested, you can do all that other stuff, but like it's their world, we report on it.
Yeah.
And you're bringing in personal judgments like that. That's kind of bullshit.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, Matt Ishbia, we'll see if he's a good owner or a bad owner in the long term. But I will always.
I'm hopeful.
I am too, and I will opt for the owner that's aggressive and trying to win, because there are plenty of owners who are not trying to win.
And we've seen him.
He is, yes. And his first shot at doing that, he overstepped and created a mess. I'm optimistic he'll learn from that and approach it in a smarter way. And again, the dumber way, I was 100% behind the dumber way.
Yeah, no. I think,
here we are.
Yeah, I mean, remember, 5,000 people showed up to watch Durant say hi.
Yes, yeah.
At a press conference.
And when people complain about the trade, the complaints are dumb. They traded Mikal Bridges and Cam Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay. And, the draft, they gave up a lot of draft picks. It'd be nice they gave up fewer draft picks. Cam Johnson is an absolutely replaceable piece.
What killed the Suns was they lost their leadership with Chris Paul.
Yeah.
Now, he was on the downside of his career, even though I think he played in every game this last year.
Did. He played in every single game for the Spurs this year. But I don't know that he played well, but he played in every single one.
But what I think, when you look back at it, it wasn't the loss of Mikal Bridges or anything. It's the loss of that kind of leadership is what the Suns suffered. And
which doesn't necessarily speak highly of the roster, the coaching staff at that point, but yes.
Yeah, no, and if I don't want to go over the Booker stuff, man, because no.
Yeah, I know. But if an aging point guard who misses most of the season with injuries is the only thing keeping your team running, you're probably in a bad spot in terms of leadership. That you can't be that dependent on a guy who is sort of hampered by the fork sticking out of his back as he plays.
Who's not much younger than you and I.
No.
All right. Well, oh shit, man. What else you want to talk about?
I brought up a music discussion yesterday.
Oh yeah.
So it occurred to me, and I think most music fans are like this, I've always had this sort of running list in my head of the musicians I've never seen live who I would love to see live. Yeah. That, if they're on the West Coast at some point, I will go see them because I've never seen them and I've always wanted to see them. And it occurred to me that I think that list was mostly down to 2 people, and I ticked them off in the last year. And it just feels odd. It occurred to me, I don't know that there's anyone out there that I've never seen who is still touring that I really, really, really want to see in concert. I saw the 2 for me were Paul Weller, who rarely plays in the U.S. and certainly doesn't play in Phoenix, and Bob Mould, who frequently tours the U.S. but does not play in Phoenix. And so in the past several months, I saw Paul Weller in Anaheim and saw Bob Mould outside Palm Springs.
Yeah.
And the list is mostly barren from there. So do you have any?
Yeah, Bob Mould is on that list. I had a ticket for that show. Couldn't go for a number of reasons. But I thought long and hard about this.
Yeah.
And
the show 300 miles from here in the middle of the week.
Yeah.
It's tricky.
Yeah. But to me, okay, obviously the band that still tours that I would love to see and I haven't seen would be the E Street Band with Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band. And I thought about it last night, and I've never seen Tom Waite.
Oh yeah, he doesn't play that often.
No, he really hasn't for a long time.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know if you're out of luck on that one.
I think I might be out of luck.
I remember I was sitting record store day a few years ago. Yeah. We were sitting in line next to a guy who used to work at the Celebrity Theater. Mm-hmm. And he talked about encountering some of the people who played there, like years ago, like in the 70s. And Tom Waits played there. Yeah. And he said he's walking through the dressing room area, and Tom Waits is there and says, "Hey, can you hear?" I was like, "Yeah." Where can I get something to eat around here?
Mm-hmm.
And the guy told him, I think there's a Denny's like across the street. Yeah, thank you. And he watched Tom Waits leave the theater and walk across the street to the Denny's, which just seems like a
rant,
a perfect Tom Waits encounter.
Yeah, no.
You point me in the direction of a diner I can sit at. Yeah, I hadn't thought of Tom Waits. That's a good one.
Yeah, no, I mean, I've never seen him live.
Yeah, I haven't either.
Yeah.
I saw Springsteen on the Tunnel of Love tour.
Okay.
First real date with my wife.
Oh, nice.
Was Springsteen at the Tacoma Dome on the Tunnel of Love tour.
The Tacoma Dome.
I know. And it's great because he gets on stage. He's like, man, it's okay to be back here, but last time I was here, I was sick as a dog. Man, this town smells. And it does. I don't know if you've spent time there.
The Tacoma aroma.
Yeah.
I'm familiar.
Yeah, it's got a funk. Made Springsteen sick, apparently, like in the Born in the USA tour. But this is the Tunnel of Love tour. He made it through. Yeah. And it was a great show.
No.
He's an amazing performer.
No, I had a chance to see him one time in New York.
Yeah.
On Broadway. I was staying at a hotel right next to the theater he was playing. And the person I was with that day refused to go see him. And I still hate this story.
Yeah.
I should have just went.
Yeah.
I should have just fucking went.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, to see the boss on Broadway would have been fucking rad.
Would have been cool. Yeah, if you get a chance to see him with the E Street Band, I mean, we're coming up on 40 years since I saw him with the E Street Band. It's still going to be great.
Yeah.
They're a tremendous band. It was a fun show.
Yeah. And, but yeah, like most of the bands I've ever wanted to see, I've seen.
Yeah,
and the ones I haven't seen that I would love to see, they're dead. Yeah, I'm never going to see the Clash.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw Joe Strummer.
Yeah,
but I'm never going to see the Clash play.
Oh, there's a part where I'm obligated to say I saw the Clash twice. But,
I know. At the Hollywood Bowl too. Right?
No, one was at the US Festival.
Okay.
The other was at the LA Coliseum opening for the Who. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I can name plenty of bands that are essentially defunct. Right. I mean, I love Split Ends. Every once in a while, they'll play a reunion show in Australia or New Zealand, and I'm not really going to make that. Never saw the Smiths. I've seen Morrissey, which I won't do again. And I've seen Johnny Marr, and I'll see Johnny Marr anytime he comes to town.
I'm sorry, man. Even if the Smiths, and I love the Smiths, even if they got together, I still would refuse to go see them because of fucking Morrissey.
Oh, well, and they won't because Johnny Marr won't get on stage with Morrissey.
Yeah, but even if
everything
aligned, I would be like, no.
Yeah.
Why? Because he's an asshole.
Just stand there right in front of the stage, eating a cheeseburger and giving him the finger. And that's on the assumption that he's showing up because that's not his steez, man. He books tours and doesn't show up.
And for those folks who aren't as familiar with the Morrissey backstory, is one time I believe he canceled a show because he could smell cheeseburgers being cooked. He's a rabid vegetarian?
Rabid performative vegetarian.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah, he will insist the place does not sell meat. He will complain if he thinks he can smell meat. I mean, he left one show on his last tour, like one song in, because he thought the stage was cold.
Yeah.
And he tends not to do another show after that. He'll cancel a show, and then you can figure the next few weeks are off. He frequently will do a tour where he will book a show like in L.A. and do a bunch of other shows. And he'll do the L.A. one, and then he'll claim that, the bass player's grandmother has consumption or something. And so...
Again?
Sadly, these fates have drawn us apart again. He'll release some asinine statement. It sounds like it was written in the 1800s about why he's blowing off another tour. My favorite was he did a tour. He booked a tour with a few shows in L.A. And he was booking giant arenas for it. And he plays small theaters now. He probably could play larger places if he ever showed up. But even people who used to be his fans, between what a disgusting dude he's turned out to be and the fact that he always cancels, people won't buy tickets anymore.
And I've heard too, even when he does show up and play, sometimes the sets are like,
it's short.
20 minutes?
Yeah, I saw him play hour 15. I saw him once, hour 15, hour 20. And then he bails. But yeah, he was playing arenas and then at the last minute canceled because he something was up, so we had to stay at this spa in Geneva and not play the shows. And like, dude, this is 2025. We can look on Ticketmaster and see what seats are available. And the answer was, it's all of them.
Oh.
No one had bought tickets.
Yeah.
He could have gone and played to 1,500 people at the 18,000 seat arena.
Yeah.
But instead, he pretended he was ill.
Yeah, but the 1,800 people who bought those tickets were the 1,800 people who were oblivious or just doesn't give a shit about his record or showing up.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's why even if the Smiths got back together, which I know will never happen.
Yeah, it won't happen, but yeah.
Even if, I would still be like, go kick rocks, motherfucker.
Yeah. The two bands I came up with that I have not seen yet are artists. Mm-hmm. One is Wilco.
Oh, yeah.
I like Wilco a lot, although I haven't really, their last albums haven't really grabbed me, but I would still enjoy seeing them. The one problem with them is it seems like every time they're here, they're either part of like some sort of festival thing that I don't do.
Yeah.
Or like they had a show that was an outdoor show on July 4th. Like, dude, we don't do that here. That's not happening. I'm not seeing you outdoors in the summer.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
Like, nah. And the other is Iggy Pop. I've never seen Iggy.
Oh God,
Iggy would be fun.
Yeah.
He's another one that mostly I don't know that he tours as much as he plays a lot of festivals now. But I would like to see
he'll
Iggy.
play the festival. He played punk rock bowling a few years ago.
Yeah,
whatnot.
Yeah. Iggy, I would go out of my way to see. Other than that,
Maybe he'll play Pappy and Harriet.
That'd be great.
Oh,
I'd be there.
Oh yeah.
Did you see who played there last night? By the way,
Black Flag.
No, the Cover-Ups.
Oh.
It's Billy Joe Armstrong and Mike Dirnt of Green Day and like a few other crew members. They have a cover band called the Cover-Ups, and I guess when they're playing a festival somewhere, they'll find some little place to go do a set of covers. They did that at Pappy and Harriet's last night because they're Green Day's one of the headliners for Coachella.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. That's great. I mean, Billy Joe Armstrong's always had side bands, and the side bands are always really fucking good.
Yeah, the Foxborough Hot Tubs. You heard that album?
No.
It's great. It's Green Day doing like power pop, and it's amazing. Which is not exactly big. Yeah,
it's like listening to like Pinhead Gunpowder. I don't know if you ever heard that. It's a Billy Joe Armstrong band. Freaking amazing.
Nice. Nice.
Well, other than that, man, made it through another week.
Yeah, we did.
Anything else?
I think that's got to cover it, man.
I don't know.
I think we're good.
Any plans for the weekend?
So it's Easter on Sunday.
Oh yeah.
And every year we have an Easter bone hunt for our dog.
Nice.
We take a big pile of like milk bones and hide them around the yard. And she gets it. She knows what she knows what we're doing. And then we let her out, and she just goes nuts, running through the yard, grabbing her milk bones.
Yeah. And no, I mean, damn. I guess we should have wished everybody a happy Easter on the TV show.
Yeah, we could have.
It
will actually air on Easter.
I know. That's why we probably should have. I'm sure I'll get some blowback.
Well, this
that.
drops on Easter, so happy Easter.
Yeah. Sorry,
hope you had a good Easter.
hope you had a great Easter.
Enjoy the ham. And with that,
bid you adieu.
Yeah. See you next week.
Thanks for listening. You can subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, the Google Store, or anywhere else you get your podcasts. See you next time.